Welcome to episode 3 of the Let's Be Frank podcast in association with Friends2Gether, which is our national lottery funded project designed to reduce isolation and bring people together in fun and creative environments. So if you leave here today having had fun or having been creative, our job here is done, and National Lottery will be very pleased with us that we've done that. So with me today, I should introduce you to our guests first of all. So going around I'll go clockwise this week. We've got Jack with us again.
That's
Welcome
me.
back, Jack.
Hello.
We've got Sonia with us again.
Hello.
And we've got Phil with us again.
Hi.
Yeah, so just the four of us today, the dream team. Can we call ourselves a dream team without Molly? Or
Dream team minus one.
Yeah, minus Molly.
Yeah.
Molly's part of the dream
Yeah.
team as well.
Yeah.
We better bring her into that. hadn't we?
Molly's obviously got
great.
something far better to do
Yeah,
today.
we can't say where she is, but she's up to top secret manoeuvres, obviously, somewhere, I'm sure. Or swanning off on holiday somewhere, who knows. So this week, I've got a few topics for us to talk about. I haven't told our guests what we're talking about this week, so we had a brief idea of what we were talking about last time, didn't we? But this time I'm going to spring it on them a little bit. So there's nothing too extravagant to talk about. Last week we talked about, of course, the subject of why do we laugh, and in a seamless link I discussed this with Phil yesterday, and we thought this might be quite a nice little conversation to have as well. I was thinking over the weekend, I was watching some people clapping on TV, and I was like thinking to myself, why do we clap? What is it? Why do we actually clap? What is the history and the background to why people clap in appreciation when they want to give their gratitude to someone or say well done? So why do we clap? Immediate thoughts, Jack. Why do we clap with our hands?
Can I just jump in, because I've got a perfect one here. Because people can't hear you smile over the airwaves. That's why.
Yes, that's very good. Obviously, yeah.
Yes,
people can't hear you smile. Yeah,
it's an ear rather than an eye.
Yeah.
I think that's a lovely explanation.
Yeah.
well, that's the podcast done then. Sonia's nailed it again. Molly did it early doors last week, and then Sonia's already got it.
Anyway, carry on.
Oh, no, I've no.
Carry on amongst
It's a really interesting thing. I don't really know the answer. I'm going to be honest. How far back in history does it go?
Well, yeah,
I'm going to say
there is
not as far as we think.
Yeah, there is historical reference to it in some plays from the Roman times. They can tell you what exactly it was. So if you talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Okay. Here we go. That said, the earliest documented references to the specific act of applauding to signify approval when the dating is certain can be traced back as far as the Roman Republic. These first explicit references occurred in the plays of famed 3rd century BC Roman playwright Plautus, who often included a direction in his plays asking for one of the actors to step forward after the final speech to say, and this is in Roman, Vale applaudit, which is Latin for goodbye and applause. The word plaudit roughly meaning to strike, in reference to the act of striking hands together. So he actually included in his play the cast step forward and people clap. So they also think that it goes back to Roman audiences when they were talking in the early sort of stages of Parliament. Then people would go up to them afterwards and pat them on the back, because then when the Parliaments grew and got bigger, people couldn't always get down to pat them on the back, so they kind of developed clapping as a form of saying well done from afar kind of thing, rather than having everyone having to go down and slap this poor lad on the back. Hundreds of people going down and smacking him on the back, so they think that's where clapping originally originated.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah, that's one
That's cool. I like
very
that.
plausible explanation. Oh, another interesting thing that they said that clapping isn't an inherited behaviour in children. They learn it from their parents, so they like striking their hands together because they like making a noise, and they think, oh, this is quite cool, I can make a noise. But then their parents kind of teach them to clap approval when they're growing and learning, thing that I'm reading here, and the kids that weren't told to do it for approval, they just didn't clap. It was learned behaviour, basically. It wasn't inherited behaviour.
Yeah.
Animals, it also mentions in the animal kingdom, so the only other incidences of animals doing anything which resembles clapping is as sort of warning, to warn other animals, to make a noise, basically.
Right.
But they don't actually do it to say well done to other animals and stuff like that. Just it's like used to make a noise to scare people off, or to scare other animals off, or to let their other animals know that there's animals approaching or whatever. There is mention in the Bible as well of clapping. As for documented history, beyond certain references to clapping to show appreciation that appear in various books of the Bible, such as the Book of Kings that were possibly written around the 6th century BC, it is generally thought that applause can likely be traced back to at least the ancient Greeks, who around the same time are known to have had rather boisterous audiences and considered audience participation in performances something of a civic duty. So again, they're just making noise from afar, to say. Any questions there, guys, or any immediate thoughts on what you've heard there?
Just trying to think in other instances when we use clapping, because it's not just for applause, is it?
No, well, me and Phil also discussed yesterday that is it just a Western culture thing? Do they do it in other cultures? Do they clap in other cultures? And I was trying to think, sort of when the World Cup has been held at other sort of places, whether the fans of those nations clapped, or again whether it's been picked up from Western culture, or whether they do actually clap in those cultures to say well done, congratulations and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we weren't too sure. I can't really.
It's like an acknowledgement or an appreciation of something, isn't it, as well?
But it's different to laughing, isn't it? Laughing is quite intimate. You do that in a small group. If someone told you a joke and you responded by clapping,
I was going to say, if I sat here just clapping,
you'd think, he's being sarcastic.
A bit weird, yeah, exactly. That's true, because it's used as in sarcasm quite a lot,
in the single sense. Yeah. So it's something you do. I think you got
like a slow hand clap.
Well, that's yes.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. That's what I was kind of going.
Yes, I think.
Can we do an impression?
Yeah.
On the microphones, please. That would
yes, it's something a group does to one person, as opposed to laughing is more one to one or one to a few, isn't it? So it's the next stage up, which fits with it being, it's easier for large numbers to show appreciation by making a noise rather than all by. You can smile, but you can smile and clap, don't you? But yes.
Also, when the audience peters out with clapping, it starts to get a little bit strange, doesn't it? When there's only a few people left, then it doesn't have the same warmth of sound.
There is the famous standing ovation, isn't there? That's the next one up. They say after the end of this political speech by the leader of the party, there was only a 5-minute standing ovation, not a 15-minute. They got,
Well, that very pertinently brings us to my next part of clapping, Phil, because it says here, for example, applauding during an orchestra performance today is considered to be incredibly rude, contrasting starkly with the time in which many of these pieces were written, when applauding during a concert was not only encouraged, but could actively influence the structure of the performance.
Can I step in there?
Go on.
I slightly disagree. Where's this on Wikipedia? Or?
I don't actually know the reference thing here.
Looks like Wikipedia.
Because having done lots of concerts and stuff, there's a thing about people not clapping between
movements. Because you kind of spoil the ambience, don't you?
It's not rude, because people don't do it intentionally, You're not like,
Yeah, but if you've enjoyed something, I think it's
it's the opposite,
Sonia,
really.
You make a very pertinent point there. So going on in this paragraph, actually, Jack, it says that composers such as Beethoven and Mozart were known to immediately repeat pieces of a movement if the audience reaction was positive enough. So they actually started writing repetitive parts because they knew the audience would clap at a certain point, and that music would get lost, and it annoyed the hell out of them. It says down here that they really hated applause because they knew this, because they actually said this piece is so beautiful, everyone's going to clap at this point, and they're going to lose the beautiful piece of music because they're going to clap. So they'd deliberately factor that in and then repeat the part after the clap.
This is an interesting point, is that historically people used to express themselves more during the performance of classical music has only become more of a reserved activity as a spectator. More recently, I believe, like in operas, people would actually just be quite happily conversing with one another during the performance, like a bit like as a normal rock gig or whatever. Yeah. And it wouldn't be considered rude as much as it is now, which is, you must be completely quiet. I was going to say, not
at those prices, no.
Well, yes, that's maybe
you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss anything, do you? Let's face it.
Although, what I think there's a payoff, as in there's a price to pay, which is that I think it's less accessible. Especially for kids, where it's like, oh, you know, if you've got a kid who's getting into music or, you know, expressing themselves during it, like, no, they must be elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe they're still enjoying it, but there's, you know, I can understand, obviously, because everything's made for recording these days as well. Everything's made for posterity. But I do think there's a certain thing, and this was my point, like, okay, is it considered rude? Well, only by those who really insist on the etiquette that's been made up only recently being adopted, which I think is unfair.
It sounds like it goes back to Beethoven and Mozart who didn't like it.
Well, maybe.
So it says that actually reference here, it says, for reference, in a letter to his father in 1778, Mozart noted his extreme displeasure in an audience frequently interrupting his performance with applause.
I must
so he
admit,
didn't like it, so maybe that etiquette kind of got passed down from those guys.
Another thing is to say is that if it's between part of the design of some pieces of music is that there's a tension created between the movements in the silence. So it does, but having said that, actually only on Sunday I went to see an orchestra play William Walton, who's an English composer's first symphony, and it's a very jubilant, exciting piece. And I really felt I wanted to clap after the first movement, despite, you know, my upbringing telling me that was, you know, the most awful thing.
Keep your hands by your
side. It's like, no, this needs,
Yeah.
you know, it's fine, because it comes to a very satisfying close, the first movement, and then you have a little bit of a pause, and then you carry on. But some clapping would not detract from it, in my opinion. It would be like, we're pumped, you know, this is exciting, and then you can move on, as long as it doesn't go on for 5 minutes.
But the social etiquette dictated that you couldn't clap at that point,
like,
because it was like you could have wolf whistled or followed in approval.
You know what? Maybe it needs someone to stand up and be like, right.
Did you enjoy it? Join in.
You make another very pertinent point there, Jack, is it's to do with etiquette again, isn't it? Like, so some beautiful piece of music, when they take you really low and it's really quiet, and then someone's ego will shout out, go on, or clap or shout out, and they'll ruin that recording for everyone else, won't they, forevermore, kind of thing. So I guess there's a respect level, isn't there, when the recordings are being made as well, that everyone doesn't cheer and shouts out and stuff.
You do find the odd person who's going to try and clap, and you think, oops. Spot the newbie.
Hold back,
Well, that's kind of endearing, I think. It's like,
it's like, well.
You're a newbie.
We'll know next time.
And they'll soon stop.
And they never came again.
And maybe never come back.
His body was found in a ditch. Enraged opera lovers.
Phil, any thoughts on what we've discussed there?
No, I think that covers it nicely. Did you play an instrument, Sonia, then? Or?
Yeah, I played piano and guitar and violin.
As featured in our jamming group every Thursday.
Sonia
plays piano
not all
in
at
our
the same
jamming
time,
group.
No, I used to play a lot many years ago, and I've only just recently discovered that I can still tinkle the ivories.
Excellent.
That's
really...
And Ebony's.
It's only pardon?
And Ebony's, I don't.
Ebony's. Oh yes, of course. Yes.
Are you just playing a C
I
major?
only use major keys. Yeah, I don't like.
Well, you'll be equally surprised to learn, Phil, that Sonia's background is actually in dancing. She was was it ballet or tap dancing?
Where did you pick that? When did I tell you about that?
I can see that, actually.
No, there's an even better one, Sonia.
Oh no!
Tell us about your international career.
What way?
Which one?
Sorry,
I like that.
Ice.
Oh, ice skating.
Ice skating, yeah.
The British, English or British?
British thing.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
of.
Oh no, I did. I started dancing when I was 4.
Yeah.
So I did, and I
Is that tap or ballet or?
Yeah, both, and also modern ballet as well.
And then that progressed into the ice skating, the mixture of the...
I stopped dancing when I was 16 because I wanted to concentrate on my school exams and things.
Very wise.
And then I didn't really continue with it afterwards. It was getting hard work as well, you know, if your muscles aren't, you know, if you don't keep up all the time.
Competitive as well, was it?
No, not dancing. I didn't do any competitive. I did exams and we did shows and things like that.
We do the famous walking group on Fridays, and Sonia came along, and I was just blown away by all the stories she had to tell of her life. Unbelievably interesting. Unbelievable.
Oh, Phil, my fan club.
No.
Autographs will be available
really
on the way
interesting.
out.
Well, and to be honest, everyone's got stories. But
we all have. We all have. Yeah. No, but the ice skating came about was because I first got on to an ice rink when I was about 14. I'd always wanted to go ice skating, but where I lived in London, it was a long, long way away, and there was no easy public transport to get there. When I was 14, I was old enough to get on the bus and go to a place called the Sobel Centre, which is in North London, near Highbury. But that's like the size of an ice cube. It's tiny. But I spent about a year kind of just going round and round in circles and didn't really do too much. Wanted to learn how to skate backwards and kind of did a little bit, but it wasn't brilliant. But come my mid-20s, I found that I was doing some freelance work and I wasn't getting out very much. And I knew that I wanted to, do some activity that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'll have a go at ice skating, and discovered that they do adult learn to skate courses, and that's how I started. And at the time I was living in North London at that point, and I went to I can't remember, the Lee Valley Ice Centre. So I had my adult learn to skate courses there. I had a bit of a bad fall actually. A week before I was due to take my last exam,
Head
I
first?
managed to complete. Pardon?
Head first?
No, I trod on the back. It's a common thing. I trod on the back of my skate. So
Trod on the...
yeah, I trod.
Oh, I
one
see.
foot trod on the
It
back
was
of
off.
the blade. Yeah, no.
You'd taken them off.
No,
You'd have your fingers off.
I was actually on the ice. When you're on the ice, your blades are sticking out behind you, and I was doing a move called a mohawk. And where you're, mohawks and Choctaws, because
so
it
they're
comes
all
from the
named
north.
after Indian tribes.
Exactly.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, because it came from like the Northern Territories in the
What?
States.
Really?
Yeah, like
That's
Canada and stuff. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, so I did this in my mid-20s, and then I was really enjoying it. And somebody said to me, you ought to learn how to ice dance. And basically you do foxtrots and waltzes and
on the
things.
ice,
yeah, on the ice. And there's like set dances. So I could actually go to anywhere in the world, any country in the world, and get on an ice rink, and you could actually you can't speak the same language, but you can actually do the same steps.
Did Morse code with you?
Yeah, exactly. The ladies always do the same steps, and the guys do the.
Oh, I see. So you didn't have a partner who wasn't
exactly
same language.
Exactly,
But
you could still dance
Wow.
together.
Fantastic story.
So I used to. We used to have like we used to have dance evenings at the Lee Valley, and also during the public session they'd have like a break for 15 minutes. The session would be about 2 hours, and then you'd have a couple of 15-minute breaks.
Was that like free
And
form?
the public... No, the public would then get chucked off, and they used to moan about it. And then they'd put like the plinky plonky music on, so we could do our strict tempo sort of waltzes and things. And I just got to learn how to do things. So that got me a nice social group.
And did you win a gold medal in the Olympics for this?
Yeah, I did a little bit. But
Or the Olympics?
No.
We're joined by Sonia, an Olympic gold medalist.
No. The standard is way, way beyond anything I could ever possibly achieve. But we moved house back in the late 80s, and I then had to go to a different ice rink.
And you were furious.
Pardon?
I bet you were furious.
No, not really, because a lot of my people that I knew, they'd come over because you could actually skate. If you were a dancer, you could actually skate like every night of the week. You could do a dance session, because different ice rinks around the country have a different dance evening on different nights.
Wow.
So if you planned it, you could. So I've been to Bracknell. I've been to Bracknell, Sheffield. Down to Guildford. I
didn't even know they had any. Have they got anyone? Have they got one round here?
At the time, not now. Well, the nearest one here is Slough. So
they got one in Slough,
Slough Ice Arena.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Montim Lane. Yeah.
And do they have like ice hockey teams and stuff? Yeah.
But that's my nearest rink where I used to go when I moved house. That's where we used to go, and a lot of my dance friends used to come over because we used to have dance evenings on a different night. So that was a nice sociable thing.
Yes, because your real passion was synchronised.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as a result of that, there were some other adult people that were dancing, and one of the other people there said, well, we're doing a Christmas show, and we were wondering if some of the adults would like to get together, because they've got, kids and things, but would the adults like to put together a number and we could do you for the Christmas show?
It's like Disney on Ice.
And that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah.
So we did a show, and it went down so well. We were asked back to do the Rotary evening, the charity.
Were you Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck?
Rotary evening. Oh dear, you have to do certain steps to do, and that's kind of how it went. And then we were told that had you thought about maybe doing exams in this? And we hadn't thought about it, so our coach at the time put us forward. And then we did competitions as well. There were some other adult teams around the country in the UK.
So are you a qualified ice skating teacher then, or not?
No, but when our coach retired, they asked me to... Because I actually became team captain.
Yeah.
So they asked me, because I'd help the people that maybe were a little bit weaker with steps. I'd go over and over the steps with them during like public sessions
like
and
milk
things.
monitor.
And when our coach retired, they said, well, we don't want to stop skating. Would you put things together? So there was one year where, we decided what the music was as a team. I cut it together, organised the costumes, and worked out all the steps and everything. And we did our competition. And
you were like musical director.
Yeah.
What do they call it?
It was like productions.
I believe somewhere abroad.
Oh yeah, and then because of that, we there aren't many adult teams. You have to be over the age of 25. It's a bit different now, but it wasn't very popular then. And this is when our coach was still teaching. She had two other teams, younger teams, and she said, "Well, would you like to come with us? We're going to Switzerland to do the Swiss Cup." So we went about 3 times in the end to do Swiss Cup, and that's kind of like the unofficial.
So you're
European...
an international sportswoman. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely you are. Yeah,
I felt really proud. I'd never thought about representing my country in a, and it's
have
like,
you still got your outfit for Great Britain, your Great Britain kit. Have you still got that?
Yeah.
You should get it framed and put it on the wall and stuff. Like if you represented your country, it's a very proud achievement.
No, it was just really nice, and you think, wow, you don't get a chance to do that. It's not the thing about team skating like that, because it's called synchronised, because you all do moves and things. You do circles and squares and blocks and things. It can be quite terrifying because you're skating in very close
you're heading
proximity to people. Yeah. So you've got to get all the footwork and everything right, which is the reason why you need to make sure you're all pushing at the same time.
Because you'll go like dominoes.
Exactly, and it does happen.
Ooh,
it does happen. Yeah, I know, it's really scary.
Yeah.
But it's something that you can do as a team that you would never ever do on your own. I certainly wouldn't get on the ice and think I was good enough to do a solo thing on my own. But as part of a team, it's really, quite spectacular.
I think that's an absolutely fantastic story.
Yeah.
Well done, Sonia.
Brilliant.
International sportswomen in our monks.
Well, you do that as a quiz. Who has represented England in the Oasis?
I hadn't thought about
They'll be
that,
saying
actually.
it's Molly for tennis.
Yeah.
So I think the audience is obviously shouting at me to ask you, have you ever met Torval and Dean?
I did, actually.
You did you?
Yeah.
Beat them?
Taught them all they knew.
Coached them?
She actually, I have got another link, but I won't go into that now. But she actually gave us when we won one of our competitions, our synchronised competitions for the UK. Because we won the British.
Was she your reserve? You were the number one and she was like underneath.
We won the British 3 times, actually. Yeah, a British championship.
What, you and Jane Torval?
No, not Jane. No, but she actually presented our medals to
us, I
see.
Which
was quite nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
A nice thing to do.
Yeah. Nice lady or not? You can.
Yeah, well, you don't really get, when somebody's handing out, well done.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot you can.
I'll punch you in the face.
And we're going to press you for your other link then, Sonia. What's your other link to Torval and Dean?
No, I'm not going to say. But one thing I do want to share with you is it was quite well known at the time when they were still competing. In the early days, when they were doing their ice dancing, one of the sessions that they had to do was what they call a set dance. So it's like a particular a dance and you have to do 3 repetitions. They don't
3
do it now.
repeats,
Yeah, but you have to do 3 repetitions.
For reproducibility.
Yeah, exactly. Reproduction. And the legend goes that they did this particular routine 3 times, and there were only 2 tracks. There were only 2 traces on the ice because
they couldn't see the...
No, because their footwork was so perfect.
Identical.
It was so perfect. They literally retraced exactly the same steps.
Wow. Impressive.
So
you put money on them winning
gold
medals.
It's actually making the hair stand up on the back of my neck just thinking about it.
Yeah, it gives you that nice feeling.
Yeah.
So were you already skating when Torvill and Dean won their gold medals, or was that afterwards?
Oh yeah,
that was afterwards.
I was already.
Okay.
I was already skating at that point. I remember when they did their bolero for the first time. I waited up till whatever it was, 3-4 o'clock in the morning to watch it.
Where was that then? Which Olympics
that was
it?
at Sarajevo.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Sarajevo.
Before it became known for other things.
Yeah, before, unfortunately. I mean, there's no ice rink now. I think it became a cemetery, sadly, in the end.
So there you go, Phil. We've learned something amazing about Sonia today. She's represented. We might as well knock it on the head, haven't we? The whole podcast. You can't do better than that.
As I say, people have got such unbelievable
background.
Incredible stories to life.
It's
wonderful.
It's
wonderful.
funny. Even when I'm walking down the high street or I'm out and
people
I look
ask
at
you
people,
for autographs?
No. I do wonder to myself what hidden talents have people got.
Yes.
You know, I used to do it more when I was on the tube or on a bus or something,
More
on
time
a
to
train.
sort of...
Yeah, you're looking at people and you think, I wonder what you do for a hobby,
What's my
or
line?
what you do for work, or something along those lines.
Do you ever try and guess?
Yeah. And everyone's got an incredible story, not as incredible as yours. I must say, yours is the absolute apex.
But I don't. Yeah, okay.
But
well,
everyone's
thank you.
got a story.
Yeah, and
it's wonderful. You get to talking to people.
Yeah.
Really, everyone's incredible.
Yeah.
Phil, have you ever represented your country in anything?
No.
The cogs are turning. The cogs are turning. Jack, ever represented England or the UK in anything?
It depends what you mean by represented the country. I've played with an orchestra.
Oh, well done.
In the Albert Hall.
Oh, nice.
That's very good.
Well, that's a
for
nice
for royalty.
They
That's
film
a lovely
some of the
thing.
proms, don't they? The BBC proms. So I was in one of those once.
What do you actually play?
Trumpets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
instrument.
Yeah, brass.
No, yeah.
Oh, that's
I don't
fantastic.
look it. Yeah, you're walking down the street, you're like.
Were there any royals in attendance during your performance?
Well, there's a royal box, isn't there?
Yeah. So was anyone in there? Do you
think there were actually?
catch a quick glimpse of Princess Diana? Or
No, there was. So we had. Was it that gig?
there's been so many. He's got a lot of
conducting which gigs.
Prince Charles.
Pretty sure it's so Mark Elder, who's a Sir Mark Elder, he was conducting us, but no one knows who he is. But
Sorry, what was the orchestra then?
He conducts it was the National Youth Orchestra.
Okay, that's very
GB.
impressive. Very impressive.
I was in 3 years.
So you're the top trumpeter of the whole country.
3 years to get in.
Yeah, that's impressive. That is impressive.
Because there was a very good cohort, and I think
Yeah.
they all just had left when I joined.
Yeah.
But you were still the top trumpeter of your age group, so you shouldn't talk that down, Jack, to be honest. The things we learn about people.
I remember playing in the school. I wasn't a very good violin player, but I did take part in the school orchestra.
Yeah.
But the one bit of advice I was given, which always stuck with me, and it still makes me giggle when I think about it, was that I was told that if you even if you lose your place in the music, just keep bowing in the same direction as everybody else, because otherwise it looks really weird.
Pretend you like hover bow like 6 inches about. So
Shout out, wait for me, folks.
yeah.
So have you ever had a moment where you've had to kind of pretend to play?
Yeah, definitely. That would have definitely happened.
It's all coming out now.
Do you play any instruments, Phil?
Yes. I was played the recorder at junior school.
Little donkey?
I didn't get that far.
No?
no,
Three
you can
blind
hear-
mice?
Yeah, I could have. That's good. A B B C C. So I lost my way within about the first few lessons, but I never had the nerve to tell the group teacher that I couldn't do it. So I mouthed it.
Yeah.
For about 3 years.
Oh, well
then
done.
someone was figuring out that we were making an awful row, and they made us do it one by one.
You got found out.
I certainly did. Why I didn't have the book? Well, the nods.
I mean, that's what you
I'm
should
clapping.
do.
Say actually.
I'm clapping.
So no, I had to sit there making horrible squealing noises.
So they worked out it was you that was making horrible squealing noises.
I've always had nightmares of what's the word, being found out. What's that, imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
Well, I really was an imposter in the recorder group.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But the problem is you can't hear yourself. Once the quality gets that bad, you can't actually hear yourself anymore, so you stop trying. Understandable.
Talk us through the fear, Phil, as I were going around the room, just approaching you, and you're like,
I know.
My cover's
I
blown.
know. You think, oh God, let there be a fire alarm.
Yeah. Was that what you were praying for? Was it something, an asteroid to hit the world at this point?
Why I couldn't have just said to the teacher, actually, I've been miming it, so I would have had to go through the embarrassment. But you don't as a child.
Sounds like you learned a valuable lesson, though,
You
Phil.
just see the train coming at you, and you're frozen on the tracks.
And from that day forth, you never let yourself be in that position again.
I suppose. I mean, I don't know whether you think I'm never going to mime something again, or you think I'm never going to be in a position to respond.
Unprepared, and
Yes.
blagging something rather than actually doing your homework and your background work.
Just as a quick aside, I started to go on the website for the old junior school. I used to go out on Facebook. I was basically interested. And I found this photo of us when we left junior school, went up to secondary school, and people were saying, "Oh, I recognise so and so. I recognise so and so." Every person I think on that photo was mentioned except me. Oh. So I thought I'd put a post up saying, "Now, who was that really thoughtful, kind person on the end?" Yeah, but I didn't. You can tell it was me because I had a sort of ruffled shirt. Always untied even in those days. Yeah.
Was it somebody you didn't particularly like from school, maybe getting their ultimate last final revenge on you? Like,
I just think I was fairly invisible,
an in-betweener, as they call it these days.
Sort
an
of.
In-betweener,
Yeah.
Going about your flow through school without drawing attention to yourself.
The other thing, quickly, which might relate to people, there was a teacher at school who absolutely scared the life out of me in one of those junior school years, such that I started to develop, touching rituals before I went to school. I'd touch all four corners of that, and I thought,
what's that? Sorry,
a ritual for sort of a superstition for before I went to school. I would have to touch different parts of the, almost like an OCD type thing.
Yeah.
After I got up the next year, and there's a new teacher, they just all disappeared.
Right.
And I thought that was just me. When I looked on this website, everyone was shared.
Terrified of this same teacher, was it? Oh,
so
wow.
that was quite, not life-affirming, but at least reassuring. All these things you think are just unique to you, it's worth talking to other people about. That might possibly help, I don't know, perhaps find
that's a solution for any kind
of
trauma.
Phil, remember that story you told me on the walk the other day about you'd been carrying this regret over some incident for a long time. Do you want to tell that story? Yeah, do you want to tell that story?
Yes, it is a bit like that.
Yeah. Would you like to tell that story?
I can if you think it's...
Yeah, it'll be pertinent at this point, yeah.
I'm Mr. Law-abiding. I never do anything wrong because I suppose I'm a bit of a coward. I fear of getting found out. few years
after the recorder incident.
French. I lost French almost immediately. I was just a bit like doing the recorder. I was just doing anything I can just to go through the motions and get out of the class.
Making random noises.
I was going to say.
The teacher. Yeah. Ooh, est. Yeah.
You remembered something.
Yeah. Oh, no, well, it's an interesting story, but as you say, another time. And I just gave up, basically. And I remember one time they said, half the class are going out, they're going to cheer the people on at the sports day, the other half are going to stay in for double French. I thought, cry, God, let me be at the sports day. But I wasn't. Anyway, so...
and as a special treat today, we'll also be playing our recorder. You're like, damn it.
Yeah.
French and recorder.
Well, I know. When you say, what's hell for you, being with three people you most hate in the world, for me it would be with that... mixture of the recorder, the driving test. Anyway, so I just gave up. It was a useful experience in life because, you think people who don't try in class... But I understand it from what happened to me in French. You get so far behind, it's just hopeless.
You just can't catch up.
And this guy, the teacher hated me. I get 3 out of 20 anyway of the test, and he'd take off marks because I went below the line. None of his business if I go below the line. That's English, not French. Anyway,
Phil, you got 3 out of What's 20?
Oh, trois. Yeah,
Twat. You got twat out of, I don't know what 20 is in
van.
French. Is it?
Yeah.
You got twat out of van.
Ville,
There you go. Yeah, you got twat out of van.
Très difficile, yeah. I've got a bit of French. So one day I thought, I can't stand wasting time doing this French homework and getting a horrible mark and getting this guy putting all lots of spidery red marks. I hate it. Is there anyone I know who's good enough that I can copy their homework? And there weren't many people any good. There was one nice guy, a lovely guy. And I really liked him, and he was one of the few guys in the class. When I was late going through puberty and everyone was beating me up on the French, on the fence and things, that he was nice to me. Anyway, so I said to him, look, would you let me copy your homework? This is just hopeless. And he was, one of the good boys in the class. Whoops, sorry. And I'm just gesticulating. That's what happened. So I copied his homework. Work came back, and it said, his name. When it came back, it said "see me" and his name on it, and he got "see me" and my name on it. The French teacher, God love him, must have spent all week when he's going through the homework comparing, or perhaps he just thought I did better than normal. I don't know. Yeah. So he'd figured out that we copied each other's homework, and then we got detention. Oh, the ultimate humiliation was when we did the annual exams, we got special put in the cheaters class, which is like triple supervision to make sure. And this was terrible for him because he was
shame of it. Yeah, he'd only just done you a favour. And
yeah. And I never quite.
Seems a bit excessive, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I never quite remembered whether I'd actually apologised to him. And after you tend to go your separate ways, I thought this is terrible. There's about 3 or 4 people who I've done the wrong to, in my life, and I'd like to get back to them and say, I'm so sorry.
I'm sure he's forgiven you.
Luckily, I saw him on a website. He's become a damn consultant for paediatrician at one of the London teaching hospitals. I thought, good on him, I thought, this is useful. I'll get in contact with him.
The cheating slur hasn't held him back in life.
No. He's a lovely guy. And so I said to him, I said, well, Mark, is it you? He said, yes. I said, let's meet up. And we did. We had a good time. We did one of the sort of backnall walks.
Okay.
And I said, I'm so glad we met up. It's really nice talking to you, finding what you've done in life. But the big thing I want to say is, do you remember when, the second year at school, when this happened, I copied your homework, then you got into awful trouble. I never really apologised, I don't think, and I'm so grateful. And he said, you sure that was me? Because I don't know whether it must have been him, because he was the only one who was bright enough to be worth copying, who I would have been friendly enough. Yeah. He's got no memory of it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident it happened, but it obviously made no impression on him at all.
Yeah, it's like Phil had been carrying this for years, and then the guy didn't even remember it.
I think that happens quite often, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, different memories of the past.
Yeah.
Well, that is very true.
Yeah.
But that wasn't totally trivial. I mean, for somebody who was used to being,
Right, yeah.
But so I don't know what happened.
Makes you wonder how often he cheated in later life, doesn't it?
Maybe.
If it all merged into one.
He is a freaking lovely guy. And do you know there's some people in life, you only really appreciate them afterwards.
Yeah.
They do things you think at the time. But then you think, he was just a nice guy,
Yeah. You realise there's,
Yeah, they do things
not as
that
common as you thought.
Only as an adult do you. But so that's right. I've got another 3 or 4 people I'd like to see, but I'm hoping that's the same case there.
It's like the plot of that TV programme, My Name is Earl. That was the premise of that film. He had to go around and make amends to everyone that he'd upset in his life.
I've seen that. I'll write it down.
Yeah, My Name is Earl. It's exactly the same plot as that. Yeah. So he made a list of people he'd upset and turned over, and he had to go around and find them and apologise to them in some way. It's very good.
Just to finish that line, there's also a few people, I think, who might have felt they've done me a disservice.
You're still awaiting an apology.
No, not that so much. I'd like to be able to say to them,
Yeah.
It's on me.
Probably the other. Probably.
That's excellent, Jack. That's absolutely excellent. That would make the philosophical symmetry complete.
Well, it's probably the orchestra as well.
I
got told off.
you. I didn't know I did it.
Phil, it's probably all the other recorder players that went into trouble because of you, like making that horrible noise.
What do they call it? Spoofing.
They were playing it perfectly, and you were wailing away like a banshee in the background and getting them all into trouble, and then making them stay for detention and stuff. There we go.
That's great. The opposite of that is the vengeance that would be feel very good to
it motivates a lot of people, doesn't it? People that think they've been wronged by someone, and it motivates them in life. And you go, my whole life I've been focused on this because I want to get my own back, and then they go, I don't even remember who you are, kind of thing. And your whole life is focused on something, and the other person can't even remember it. They can't even remember.
Well, there's another thing which, when I changed over school to a grammar school at sixth form.
Nice.
And apart from anything,
I'm presuming you weren't majoring in French.
No.
That's
you see, I was in all remedial classes till I discovered science, and then anyway. But then this school had a bloody thing for physical education and all these games. I went to the football ground once, and there was all of us in our rather effeminate-looking secondary school colours in sort of, oranges and maroons, and we were getting really hammered by all the others. I thought, I'm never going to go to that again, so I just didn't go. Again, a rare example of me. At every start of every term, the PE teacher would say, I want you all to sign up for whatever it was, swimming with the sharks, or all the horrible stuff they did. Rugger. I know there's some skivers in there. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you skivers. You better sign up. And of course, I didn't want to sign up. I was worried about, he never did anything. He just went back in his shed and had a cigarette,
We had this dopey teacher who used to do our IT lessons, and I literally got away with 6 months of not going to her class. I just got my friend to say here when she would read the register at the beginning. And it got to Christmas and I hadn't been to a single one. And she was like, who are you? I came to one class.
You never even realised that you
didn't even realise I wasn't going.
It's amazing. And that's the lesson you get. If you don't cause too much trouble, if you just...
Stay under the radar.
Just off the radar.
That's my mum's whole remit for us. Just don't get into any trouble. Just blend in the background.
You can get away with almost anything.
I think you can.
So that's not the lesson he probably intended to teach.
No, I can top you on the French though, Phil. So
I'd be amazed.
I bet you I can. So my GCSE French oral exam, I was I was awful at it. So I was getting all the questions wrong, and I could see the French teacher getting more and more frustrated. And she goes, right, before you leave today, you're going to get one right. What is French for table? And I was like, I don't know. I was like. And the rest of the class were laughing at me, and it makes it worse, doesn't it? Everyone was laughing at me, and I had no idea. I just went, pantalon? and she slammed her thing down and left the classroom, and everyone was peeing themselves with laughter at me. And I was like, I don't know, why am I supposed to know what that is? And they were like, it's table in French. So my French vocabulary now, I know what table is. I know what pantalon means trousers, apparently.
Yes.
And I know Matonia Gauche's, Matonia Dwats, and my alley two drawers. Lagar, croissant.
Oh, yeah, that's a very important one to know.
Is that chicken or fish?
A croissant. No.
Poisson.
Croissant.
Is that fish
or
chicken?
Poisson's a
I
fish.
heard croissant.
What's chicken?
Yeah.
Isn't that similar?
Croissant is fish.
What's chicken?
That's chicken of the sea.
Yeah. So so I was rubbish at French.
Funny, the first word that came to my head was frango, but that's chicken in Portuguese.
You were on about your Portuguese language last week,
but
weren't
John,
you?
just following that up, when you hear these last word obituaries about people, they're famous people. And the things people remember are things like that.
Yeah.
When you have your obituary, they say, and we all remember John for the time in French and everyone would be laughing. That's wonderful.
It didn't stick. So the teacher gave up on me. She just let me stay at the back. We used to play this little game of football. We'd like draw these cards out. It was like a dice game we invented, and we'd just sit at the back doing. It was like a precursor to fantasy football, and we'd just sit at the back and do it. She gave up on us. She just let us stay at the back playing this game the whole time. So I was awful at French. Yeah, I've still got my French books at home, but I obviously didn't read them at any stage.
The problem is that we're not communicating with French people.
No.
So...
funnily enough, we had a French exchange student come over called Christophe. I remember him.
Nice.
And all I remember from him teaching us was le rugby. He liked le
rugby.
We talked about, we're like, oh, do you know Eric Cantona and David Ginola and all these French players? He goes, no, I like le rugby. And we're like, so that's what I remember, le rugby. He liked rugby.
Certainly these things that happen at school really influence you. in the rest of your adult life. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, it has to.
I mean, you must have done the football selection. Perhaps you were too good at football. Yeah, you were probably good at football. You know when they selected the teams?
Well, I've got a story about that, Phil, and I'm livid to this day about this, right, by the way. So it was the first time when we started, we were 12 at secondary school. So I was, in my previous school, I was really good at football. I was the striker, I was the main player and stuff.
Yeah.
So then when we started secondary school, it was our first ever tryout for the football teams, right? And everyone was there knocking the ball around. And the games teacher was like, well, we need a couple of people to go in goal. So my friend Mark went in one goal. No one else wanted to go in the other goal. And to this day, never volunteer, Phil. Never volunteer. And I said, I don't mind going in goal for a bit at the beginning. He put me in goal the whole damn thing. And then I never recovered after that. They chose the team and I never managed to get really much of a look in. But because I volunteered to be nice to go in goal.
Yeah.
And it annoys me to this day that I just remember thinking... Don't volunteer. But so I was being nice. I was like, I'll go and goal for the first 5 minutes. So and then the games teacher, no one else would go and goal basically because no one else wanted to do it. And I got stuck in goal for this whole time. And then I was always playing catch up to try and get in the team after that, bizarrely. Just dented my confidence and it was really...
But you still play football now.
Yeah.
I was one when they chose the side, you'd be left with about 6 people and they'd say, well, you could have those 6 for that one person. I was one of those 6. They then would put you in the goal line, hoping that if you couldn't kick the thing, at least you might deflect it from the...
You know what, to this day, Phil, I obviously do manage and run teams and stuff, and I deliberately don't do those kind of picking things because I always felt bad. I always felt bad for the kids that get last picked kind of thing, so I deliberately won't. I'll always pick the team, so I don't want it to get people to have to choose because they go through the hierarchy and then you can have him, I don't want him, and I just felt really bad for the kids that are left in that situation, so I won't ever leave them in that situation.
Very good, very good.
From having volunteered to be a goalie, you'd learnt that it was bad to volunteer.
Yeah, to this day, never volunteer.
So I
still do.
We blow things out of proportion because our brains are absorbing the world, but we're at that age, you're trying to make sense.
Yes,
of the
you're
world.
really absorbing there,
and it's quite interesting, isn't it? You go, okay, well, that was my decision then, and I've just realised as a result of that I shouldn't do. And then you've created
the
rule.
politeness in you overcomes that, doesn't it? Like for this Saturday, I was playing football, and the manager said, "Can you run the line for the first 10 minutes of the game, of the second half?"
Yeah.
And I was thinking that isn't going to be 10 minutes. That'll be about half an hour. No one else is going to volunteer to do it. But obviously, being polite, I said, "Yeah, that's fine. I'll do it for the first 10 minutes." And I just kept going at him.
Yeah.
Tapping my watch, going 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and no one else would volunteer. Like when he goes, would someone else like to take over running the line? And everyone pretends I haven't heard and avoids eye contact, don't they? No one will do it, but it backfires every time. So I never volunteer, but I always do because I'm polite. But
you've now you say you can volunteer, but always have an exit strategy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll do it for the first 10 minutes.
There is a saying, isn't there, that expecting the world to treat you nicely if you do nice deeds is like expecting a bull not to charge at you because you're a vegetarian.
Yes. Yes.
Very wise. Yeah.
Yes. You guys got any funny French stories?
I can't think of any.
No. Did you do French at school?
I did French at GCSE. Yeah.
Hence, you knew what 20 was earlier.
Yeah. Some words in my head. Not a huge amount. I've got a good story actually. Oh no, it's a bit personal. My parents had a French lodger at one point.
Was his name Christophe, who liked the rugby?
It was a woman actually. I'm going to call her Martine.
For the sake of this. So innocence and protection.
Martine, oui. Anyway, so she invited me to stay with her in Bordeaux in France. Anyway, she said it's going to be sunny constantly. Bordeaux is
it's supposed to be, yeah.
Land of sun.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's not what happened. So it was basically cloudy the whole time that I was there, which was a week. They were trying to finish off their masters at the same time because it was the end of the academic year.
But, were you there so they could practice speaking English?
Well, no. Me practicing speaking English?
Yeah.
French.
No, them.
Right.
Speaking
anyway,
English with you.
she was with her partner, and anyway, he was there. He didn't speak any English, and I was basically expected to speak French, except I refused because I'm way too. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. I hadn't studied French in 5 years or whatever.
You had no clue.
I'm generally not very confident with these things, which is obviously an issue, isn't it? If you're trying to learn a language, you need to just
So you guys really bonded. You didn't want to speak French. He didn't want to speak English.
Basically, she was caught in the
Match
middle.
made in
I
heaven.
think she became a bit resentful of the whole situation
Oh,
of me staying there for a week.
Counting
She
down
was
the days.
smoking all the time. And it was blowing in my
Tobacco
face. She would
or
smoke in the car and
other-
then, like, do the French thing of swearing at all the other drivers and being like, "Oh,
That's
yeah,
a French thing, is it?
or Italian as well. We're just expressing
Swearing in
ourselves.
French.
I was like, yeah, no problem.
They win.
More and more smoke blew in my face.
Can we establish
Wasn't going very
was this
well.
cigarette smoke or
But the thing that
drugs?
no, just cigarettes. Yeah.
Cigarettes.
But the thing that was the icing on the cake was that I took my wet shaving stuff and I managed to, basically I had my bowl and the shaving brush and I'd left them on the side and they were slightly wet. Obviously, this was in the bathroom, and the surface warped.
Oh,
with the damp, right? So
Well, it's not very good surface for a bath.
Right. So anyway, so I'd left, in the bathroom where there's damp everywhere. Surely.
Yeah.
So I'd placed my
whole
shaving stuff
shelf had
to one
curled
side,
up.
and the surface got damaged, and she was not happy about it at all.
You couldn't understand what she was saying anyway.
No, she's brilliant in English.
You could tell from her gesture, like, you stupid, you stupid.
Trop de l'eau. I was like, anyway, I was like, well, at least in this regard, I don't think this is my fault.
Were you out on your ear? Did she get rid of you? Were you chucked out?
Well,
or
no,
not?
I didn't.
No.
But it didn't end very well. And I was
Je suis
taken back
très
to the-
désolé.
What happened with the boyfriend? Did he give you even more evils after you'd done that? Was he like even more?
It didn't motivate me to
He
want to
probably
learn
cheered
French,
up
I can
then,
tell you
didn't
that.
Yeah, he's like.
However,
he's gone
since
so-
then, I have gained some French friends, and I've wanted to learn French ever since. So yeah, that's plenty of.
Have you ever eaten snails or any of the French delicacies?
No.
I've had snails.
Sonia,
Yeah,
you've had snails.
are
What do they
nice.
taste like?
They're a bit chewy, but normally they put
taste
so
like
much
chicken.
Yeah, there's normally so much garlic on them that you
Yeah.
can't really taste. I actually quite like
Just a
them.
garlic chewy thing, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Phil, ever had snails?
No, I don't believe so. Not knowingly.
I will tell you a funny story
Escargot.
about.
Escargot.
I'll tell you a funny story about snails.
Go on.
And sorry, I've just knocked the
She's
table.
that excited. She's barged into the table. Come on, calm yourself down and tell us about your
This was in
snails.
Portugal, and we were staying with.
You're in Portugal. She's obsessed with
know.
Portugal,
No,
isn't she?
no,
They do
no.
serve snails there.
Yeah, and we went to a restaurant. We were staying with my husband's mother and father because they had a house out there at one point. And we went to they always used to eat like where the locals at and whatever. So we went to their favourite restaurant. We were sitting there. We saw that snails were on the menu. And we were asked, we were then asked, we thought, well, that would be nice for a starter, to share between four of us. Although my husband at the time didn't really want to join in. And we were asked, did you want French snails or did you want Portuguese snails?
Oh, right.
So we said, well, what's the difference? And they said, oh, well, you get more Portuguese
One wears a
snails.
cravat.
Pardon?
Does one wear a cravat?
Talking like Charles Aznavour, yeah.
French snails.
So you get more of it. So okay, we'll do
get more of
that.
it, okay.
And these, so this great big steaming plate turned up, and they looked exactly like the sort of ones you'd see in the garden.
Yeah.
And we were all laughing.
What were you
Normally,
expecting?
if you have, normally the escargot normally come in like
giraffe?
They're normally much. No, but they're normally much bigger, and you only get like sort of maybe 3 or 4.
Do they take
but
the
they're
shells
much
off?
bigger. But these were like sort of just like the ones that you'd see in the
So
garden.
that's obviously the difference. The Portuguese ones, they leave the shells on, maybe.
Well, no, they literally collect them from their garden.
Right.
they're not farmed.
Did you eat them?
Yeah, they were delicious.
Well, probably the smaller ones. Sometimes smaller fruit is more tasty.
Yeah.
Maybe the same with snails.
Yeah, but obviously, you've had so many to eat. But it was just like, and it gave me the idea was that, I know what I can do when I get home now. So long as you have to feed them on bran or something to clean out their intestines or whatever. But I've never looked at a snail in the same way
Have you
since.
just plucked one out in the garden?
Yeah, and I've just kind of looked at it and think, you're
Yeah.
quite juicy. You look quite juicy.
Bit of chicken with some garlic.
But no, I haven't actually physically done it. But
Wow.
and then I was wondering what slugs might be like, because we get enormous slugs sometimes
Yeah,
in
those
our
yellow
garden.
So people,
Yeah,
does
you get
anyone eat
massive-
Slugs are
They
different.
must
though,
eat
aren't they?
slugs somewhere. Hedgehogs eat them.
What's it?
Hedgehogs eat slugs, don't they? So
Yeah.
maybe you could eat a hedgehog and then
Yeah.
by proxy.
Oh
you
no, I
could eat
wouldn't eat a hedgehog.
No?
Oh no.
Yeah, we'll go down that road.
And there's probably not
too
much
few
meat.
of them anyway.
I was going
Yeah.
to say, there's probably not much meat on a hedgehog. So
Oh, under the spikes, you might be all right.
Yeah.
You might be all right.
You bake them in clay, don't you? So the spikes can...
Really?
Anyway.
You bake them and the
I
spikes
believe
come
that's
off?
the way
wow.
you do a
Who
hedgehog.
eats
Yeah.
hedgehogs then?
Yeah.
apparently Romany people do.
Well, yes, that's what I've heard.
yeah, Romany people do on their
They're
campfires.
easily caught, aren't they? And stuff out in the
Yeah.
wilderness. On that lovely note, we've got 10 minutes to go. So, would somebody like to choose from our list of mindful conversation topics? So, a number between 1 and 99. I should tell you we've done 1, 2, and 3, but I'm going to throw it open to a random
4 to
selection between
99.
between 4 and
4
99.
99.
Jack's jumping in. What have we got?
61.
61. 61. So today's topic of conversation: what does alone time look like for you? What's your perfect day if you wanted to hang out on your own?
That's a good.
What does alone time look like for you? Your perfect day. Describe your perfect day, Jack.
Now
What's
you're
your
getting
perfect day?
personal.
Yeah.
Alone time for me is most of my life. No.
Someone get the violin. We've got a recorder player. We haven't got a violin player.
I'm actually, there's a poster over there that says helpless stranded alone. That's me right now. So occasionally I do actually have a day where I spend most of it by myself. It depends on whether I'm in a good mood or not. Because I think it's funny because I think I'm an introvert, not drastically so. So I do crave company. Yeah, for me it's a case of just if I'm in the right mood, then I can get into it. Reading, basically, I think.
Reading's good.
I'm also quite an active person. I can't stay in the house all day, so I'll have to go for a walk somewhere or cycle, get out into the environment first, I think. And then, but I have got quite good at being by myself, I think, more recently. The trick is to see it as not a permanent state of affairs.
Yeah. A little
So
bonus
the fear
day.
goes away. Just
Yeah.
like, it's okay. You're going to see people tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Because I think, yeah, at least like that's what happens to me sometimes. I think there's a sort of fear mechanism that kicks in where I think, this is for the long term. Nah, it's not,
You go a bit stir
It's not
crazy,
the road.
don't you? Sometimes I have 3 days off. If I've got a Monday off or something, I've got Saturday, Sunday, Monday to myself. It's a bit.
Oh,
you go a bit
wow.
stir crazy, don't you? I'm like,
yeah.
what's your perfect day, Sonia? What would you, if you
Well,
could design your perfect day?
I'd probably be with other people.
Eating
to be
snails,
honest. I would
ice skating,
drinking prosecco.
yeah, eating biscuits,
Eating biscuits. Yeah.
hobnobbing with
Are you
Torvald
saying
and
you
Dean.
don't spend time by yourself at all?
No, well, that's actually part of my problem. Everybody listening is that I am an enforced single person now, and it's not of my choosing.
Yeah.
So I am on my own all the time.
Means you've got more choice in who you.
Yeah, but I don't have the motivation. My perfect day is actually just to hide under the duvet and just sleep.
In the bedroom with
through
the rat.
it.
That's featured in
with or
episode
without
1.
the prosecco?
I haven't actually tried that, but you give me an idea, Phil. That's great.
Yeah, you find it distressing being by yourself.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I've always been a people person. So
Yeah, I can see that.
being on my own is really hard. You almost get too much choice,
Yeah.
as it were.
So being with someone narrows down the choice, which is good because then you can concentrate on the
sharing.
choices
Yeah,
and you
because you're
share it.
sharing things with
Well,
people.
that's very interesting.
So I've never lived on my own before now. So this is a new thing for me.
A new experience.
Yeah.
What's the longest you've ever stayed in bed for then? Dare we ask? She's just creased up, so there's a good answer here. No, not in a A lion. Kind of. How long? What's the longest you've lied in bed having a lion? I should clarify.
I think on one of my worst days, I think it got to about 6:45 at night, and I thought I really ought to get up.
There's not much left.
I think I've done that before. It was snowing and cold, and we couldn't get out.
That's quite nice when you're in bed. You look at the snow from a nice warm room.
I mean, it's like during when we had the COVID and lockdowns and things. Yeah. I mean, I slept through most of it.
I loved it.
I dealt with it perfectly.
It was like when you're at school and you have the 6-week holiday when you're a kid. I decided to conceptualise it like that, so it was like a bonus extended one last school holiday that you weren't going to get. Just lots of. I took the dog out, lots of running, watched loads of box sets, read loads of books I hadn't done.
I know people say they got bored and whatever. I mean, I wasn't bored at all. It's funny.
Not surprised with all them animals
you were
battling with.
I wasn't particularly anxious.
Did you form a bubble with anyone, or did you?
I did. Yeah. I've got a friend that lives in Crawley.
Nice.
So, and they had, unfortunately, they've had some serious health conditions.
Were you allowed to go to Crawley? Does that count as a bubble or not?
Well, it was okay. It was okay until they brought in the tier levels.
All that,
and where I was living was in a different tier to Crawley. And but I managed to escape before it actually happened.
Did you go and stay in that tier? Did you? Did you go down and stay in Crawley?
Yeah, once you could stay in the tier, that was fine. But I saw it as a necessity rather than a nicety, because they were in the same situation as well. They were on their own, so it's. I
like the way that the nature was taking over the land again. It was great.
Yeah, reclaiming.
I'd go for a walk and you'd see all the foxes just like getting more timid, wouldn't they? They'd be out and just lying in the middle of the field and stuff, and they were taking over the world again. Well, that was quite nice. It was sad to see when it all sort of regressed again back into how it used to be.
There were definitely some pluses. I know it was a very difficult and sad time for a lot of people, and we're still recovering from it, economically and whatever. But there were some nice
positives.
Those were
economic decisions, though, weren't they? Yeah. Phil, what does alone time look like for you? If you could describe your
I love
perfect day. What's your perfect day?
If it's like a sort of problem, I suppose intellectual problem, like entanglement in quantum physics or the gambler's fallacy. I don't quite understand it. I like to just sort of have a good think about it in front of the PC and look up all the different entries, make sure I understand it. So I can do that for hours.
So you get lost in your own head and sort of investigating a problem or something that's piqued your interest in something you like.
Just drill down. I love that. I mean, you wouldn't want to do it forever, but certainly do it for a day.
Yeah, I like doing that on YouTube. If there's like some technical problem or like something that in music or mixing, I just immerse myself in it and watch loads of things until certain bits of it stick and stuff like that. I do like doing that. Cool. And on that note, that's the conclusion of another podcast. Episode 3 done. Booked it, packed it. It's in the can.
Thanks, John.
Got to edit it.
Just got to edit it and get it out on.
With all the expletives.
You'll be able to see it on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Yeah. The heady heights. You never know where we're going to end up with this thing. Rivaling Joe Rogan with 10 million or whatever.
Retitle it according to the content, couldn't you?
We do. I give them a different title each week. So the first week was something to do with animals, wasn't it? It was
Animal magnetism.
Animal magnetism. That was the week. That was it. Last week's was just named after your question, Phil. To it's a bit of clickbait to lure people in.
I think
Why do we smile?
Yeah.
What can we call this week's one then, folks? This is a good way to end it. What can we call this week's episode?
The
French connection, maybe. We talked about a lot of
treading
French
on ice.
stuff, didn't we? Treading on ice or the French connection. Treading on French ice. Why
What's
not?
French
Mix them
for
up.
ice?
Good question, I don't know.
Yeah.
Easy.
What's French for table, John?
Le table, yeah. A table of ice, yes. Le table of Easy. There you go, that's the name of the episode. Le table of Easy. And on that note, would you like to say goodbye, everybody? We'll go around clockwise.
I thought we finished already.
No, we're still going. I haven't pressed stop yet, so would you like to say goodbye to everyone, Jack?
That's it for me.
Sonia?
I'd say au revoir, actually.
Yeah, that's a good way to leave it. Oh, how can you top that, Phil? You've got to try and follow that somehow.
The Let's Be Frank podcast is brought to you by the Oasis Partnership, a charity providing high-quality social and psychological support services to improve people's mental health and well-being. We deliver socially inclusive, open access support for the wider communities of Buckinghamshire through pioneering and innovative partnerships and initiatives. Oasis provides free and subsidised health and wellbeing classes and support groups for the Chiltern area, including mindfulness, yoga, fitness, art and music. Oasis also helps support people to reach their full potential through our substance misuse treatment service, Routes to Work and outreach service. The Oasis Substance Misuse Treatment Service is provided in partnership with Inclusion, part of Midlands Partnership NHS Foundation Trust, delivering 1 recovery bucks. The Let's Be Frank podcast was launched in tribute to the memory of long-term Oasis patron and world-renowned cinematographer Frank Hodge, and is recorded in the Frank Hodge Podcast Studio, our new community podcasting facility launched in his honour.